Welcome to Agency Acquisitions and Exits. I'm your host, Peter Lang. Today's episode has a special guest. He found me via this podcast. Joel Graber is the founder of Modern Outbound, a growth agency specializing in outbound systems and pipeline generation. He's not some big agency. He's a 10-person team. And about 8 months ago, after reading and consuming all things that are the rabbit hole of M&A and business buying, he searched on Spotify, agency acquisitions, and found us and our agency acquisitions and exits community. We have a Slack community. We have a cohort of people who have learned the process of adding growth perpetually to their business. And he found us right when he was ready to hear it. Not only did he binge a bunch of episodes, he took action, joined the community, took the training, and then went out and bought his first business. This is a story of someone who takes action. He's an example of what it takes to go from aspirational business buyer to someone who's going to change the trajectory of his life and his career by playing the game that we all want to play, business buying. In today's conversation, we're going to talk about what it's really like to buy your first business, the mistakes, the surprises, the resources and community that supported him, and the sleepless nights, the things that really cause us stress as we do something that's hard and challenging for the first time. Listen to his story and hear your own journey in Joel's. Let's dive in. Joel, thank you for joining me.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me, Peter.
Full circle. Joel, you heard the podcast and now you're on it. How's it feel?
Pretty nuts. I was in the acquisition mindset several months ago, and I'm sitting in a movie theater with my kids. We're seeing Zootopia. It was back in, I don't know, it was like back in October. And I was like, you know what? As I was looking at other kinds of businesses, I run an outbound marketing agency. I said, why don't I, it's like this epiphany, like I should buy an agency. Like that makes more sense. Your mind kind of trails off in a movie like Zootopia, scintillating as it is. So like on the spot, I went into Spotify, I typed in agency acquisitions, did not know who Peter Lang was, did not know you existed, and boom, there you were. And devoured a couple episodes, joined the community, which is awesome, by the way, and things got moving pretty fast.
Now, I like to take credit, but the credit's not due for your M&A exposure. You had researched, you had read books, you had been a student from the sidelines looking at M&A. What exposure to M&A, formally, informally, did you have before you started really taking this action?
Yeah, I was nerding out on everything. There, like nothing too niche. I think people that listen to this podcast probably nerd out to a degree. I read Buy Then Build. That's the Walker Diebel. I hope I'm not butchering his name. Diebel. I was like Diebel or Diebel. I never know. All right, that was great. HBR Guide to Buying a Small Business. Rick and Royce. I was devouring their podcasts. I was listening to Acquiring Minds, Will Smith, Acquisitions Anonymous. And then, of course, like I came across your podcast once I narrowed in the agency search. But I was listening to like 2 or 3 episodes a day. I was obsessed. It felt like I was walking through a portal to another dimension. Been running Modern Outbound for several years. It's very rewarding. It's chaotic. It's fun. But this, it's like the best things in my life seem to like happen naturally and organically. I don't push for it. It almost like just came into my frame, and the moment that happened, never looked back.
You consume the content. You were an aspirational buyer. Mm-hmm. You work with your wife.
Yes.
What did the discussion at home look like when you're saying, hey, I've been an entrepreneur, I got my own thing, but how about we go buy something?
Yeah. Jess, my wife, is extremely supportive. So she's always, she has a lot of inherent trust in my abilities, but in the last couple of years, like we've grown Modern Outbound and it's in a good place, but I always have like different ideas. Hey, like we should like launch this service line. We should try this new thing. And there's like that initial excitement. And then of course I get buried into the day-to-day of the agency and it doesn't happen. So I think there was that initial excitement, like, Joel, you can do it. There's no question about it. And of course in the back of my mind, like, will he actually execute on it? And I could almost read that. I could like read her mind. And of course that fired me up even more. So I knew I had to act fast or else it wouldn't happen at all. Got onto acquire.com, looked through a bunch of this great platform, by the way. I found several great agencies and there it was, GTM Design Club.
So you had a very clear, I don't want to say entrepreneurial journey, but you're running your own shop. You are in a category that is very powerful. Like outbound is not for the shy at heart. It's for the people who want performance, are confident, generated on behalf of their client. And you had been in it for how many years before this October exercise is going on Acquire?
Yeah, 6 years. So I started in about like late 2019, early 2020, which was like the golden age for lead generation outbound. We didn't know it at the time, but email deliverability was easy. It was like shooting fish in a barrel. It was great. Now it's become a little bit masochistic, and it's still like I feel like we've really honed our craft and we're pretty good at it, but so many iterations, lot of like ups and downs. But yeah, about 6 years. And M&A for most of that time was like not on my radar at all. Didn't
Yeah,
even know it was like an option for me.
you were doing basically marketing, hiring people, growing sales, and growing your own outbound and
Mhm.
pipeline. What else were you doing organically to get to, where you were before you started M&A?
A lot of outbound to
I
grow
hope
our
so,
a
Joel.
lot of
Goodness.
we eat our own cooking. Hell yeah, a lot of that. A lot of marketing. We launched a couple new services within Modern Outbound that were successful. We hired. We unfortunately had to fire sometimes, but we found have a really great team there now. And like I kind of woke up one day and realized that I was kind of like more working on the business. I was a couple steps away from like the deep client work that I was so used to. And it like totally freed up my mind to think about something else, which was crazy. Like it almost like happened very naturally where I was like involved in like lots of the client meetings and the day-to-day work and I still am to a degree where because I'm obsessed with like results and I want clients to be like at a place of like just joy and ecstasy and working with us. But I still like I was able to trust my team more. Great COO, great account managers, great writers, great like it's like okay, like we could like maybe we could do something here, something different.
I want to make sure that people can correctly calibrate what we're talking about here. You weren't at like 50 people.
No, no, no.
So, like, where were you in the journey from a team size perspective? Because I think that's important as someone's listening to this going, I can't do it for this reason. And maybe
Yeah.
it's they don't have a big enough team.
Yeah, no, I think it depends on the service, how you structure it. We're small and we still are a boutique. There's about 10 of us on the team across ops, account management, writing, back office, reporting, 10 or
Awesome.
at 11. Yeah. So once we got to that like ninth and 10th hire and we put in like real pod structures for our clients, like where we had an amazing lead account manager, they were supported by data engineers, copywriters, like back office was like, okay, like I really trust the process here. I feel like we're in a much better place. So you don't need
Yeah.
to be huge. We're not huge. We just got to the level where I didn't need to be like pushing every button to make
Yeah.
things happen.
Awesome. That's great. A lot of founders, entrepreneurs who are 0 to 1 types get to that stage and they go off and start a new project.
Mhm.
And so, right when you start getting more time, maybe a little more capacity, you have two choices. You can either double down and continue to grow the team and expand it. You can start a new company, a new project. You can do something outside of it. You can do real estate. You could get creative outside of the business.
Mhm.
Or you can start leaning into what I obviously am biased, jaded, and scarred and
Hmm.
promote M&A.
Yeah.
And M&A comes on your radar. Why did you think you could do it besides the fact that you had delegated, some critical responsibilities in the company? Like, did it come from your investment banking background? Did it come from the fact that you're sitting on so much cash on the balance sheet of the business? So like, what made you so confident you could go out and buy a company?
I don't know. Maybe I feel like I'm insatiable and I always want more and I want geometric growth. Obviously, linear growth is what I'm used to. One client at a time. Let's keep growing. It's great. Sometimes it feels like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, depending on the month. Maybe two, maybe 5 steps forward, 1 step back. It depends. I wanted to figure out another like paradigm, like a paradigm shift on how to actually grow an enterprise. And it just organically, I started like, it's like once you start thinking about it, you start seeing it in your feed, you start hearing people talk about it. Like the universe started to send me all of the data and signals of like, hey, this is a good decision. And initially I was like, maybe I should just diversify away from marketing altogether, like go rogue and buy like an HVAC business or like fire safety or like electrical or something. But very quickly realized like you just get this feeling like we're guided by like what our intuition tells us without maybe even realizing it. Quickly realized like that's not my world. It's not my expertise. I'd have to really hire people and trust that they knew what they were doing. I'd be more of like a capital allocator, not someone that could really come in and roll my sleeves up. So that felt wrong. And that was the turning point of, okay, like who's like an expert in this space? Like who could I talk to? And thank God you came up first. And like your episodes, like this podcast, reinforced a lot of things that I was already feeling, and made it feel like this is the right. Not only is this possible, but this is the smart play. Like this is what you should be doing. And I love the agency life as much as I complain about it. Like it's a huge part of my life.
Yeah, there's a calling and a vocation if you're dedicated to it.
Yeah,
It's also addictive. It's stimulating. The dopamine hits can come in all sorts of shapes and sizes.
yeah,
I, it's important to note there's a lot of aspirational business buyers. Joel, you pinged me and said I binged a bunch of episodes. How do I do this? How do I join? How do I get more of this? And I think it was like a day turnaround.
mm,
You take action. So I want to make sure it's calibrated correctly to the level of effort and execution you bring. It's not the content. It's not, yes, you should listen to all
mm,
the sources that you talked about. It requires you to take action
yeah.
and be bold. And you're that, Joel.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I think when you're listening to content or you're reading a book, there's one of two things happening. You're either stalling for time, you're doing it from a place of fear, or you're loading up on content to empower like your ability. It was all of this knowledge of like looking at Sims and looking at deal flow and hearing people talk about it, hearing people like me doing their first deal was empowering me. Like, okay, like I'm like loading up on ammo. And it's like when you know it's time to go, you go. So I'm definitely one to just, it's like I know it. I know myself. If I don't do it right away, probably won't happen. It'll get buried. I've got kids. I just know that life gets in the way. So when I met you, I mean, you reinforced everything I needed to hear, obviously, and made a very clear path on how to get it done. So it's just a no brainer.
Yeah, and I just put a few barriers in front of you and you just ran through them. So let's talk through it. You went on to acquire.com.
Yeah.
My favorite recommendation I give to first-time buyers is sign up for brokers list, go to the marketplaces, go get the reps, go get exposed to the deals. And you were doing that. Let's talk about the business you found.
Yeah. Acquire is a great battleground. I like brokers. I don't know. I've never really worked closely with a broker, but I had conversations with them. Some of them are the good ones are good. The not so good ones are frustrating and you feel like they're just getting in the way. They're maybe overselling a deal. They're not telling you what you need to know. And you're not getting like real reps in unless you talk to the seller. Acquire helped me immediately. I was DMing sellers like within the first 2 hours of like buying the license. I was talking to sellers about their business on the platform. Met with maybe 7 or 8, maybe 10, and came across GTM Design Club. I've always loved creative design work on the agency side. We have a lot of clients at Modern Outbound that ask about like building the assets. And it's never something we could fulfill. We didn't really like have access to like high quality talent. We didn't want to do that, but it's such a great tangible, like valuable service that you bring to a client. And I'm in the performance marketing space. So this is almost like the opposite. Like this is like you're giving somebody something that they could see with their own eyes outside of just leads and pipeline, which is obviously critical to a business. But that was like kind of a breath of fresh air for me. So I knew that if I were to buy a business like that, the founder, whoever, is going to have to be extremely talented and have a really good team. And that was the case. So I started talking to Thomas, the founder of GTM Design Club. We hit it off right away. He's been all over, like he's run creative teams. He built GTM Design Club from scratch. Like he is a serious talent. And I could see the portfolio. I could talk to him. It's just like, that's the beauty of it. You see somebody's portfolio, they can't bullshit that. So I knew that we were onto something. And
When he
yeah,
communicated his motivation for selling, what about those early conversations made you feel comfortable to progress the opportunity?
he's a young, ambitious guy. In his mid 30s, kind of like me. I'm 37, so maybe pushing 40. But he had another venture that he was working on at the time. He wanted, more importantly, what I could see very quickly was that he wanted a partner in this. He wanted, he's a creative, he's a designer. He loves doing creative work. He doesn't want to build and scale a business. And I think that's an area that I excel more in. Business development, sales, like runs through my veins. I run an outbound agency. So like we were immediately like tag teaming on like what is possible. Like here's what we could do in the first year of running this because his delivery was on lock. I could even, I got into some of his Slack channels and could see like client feedback, which was just fantastic. And I knew that that is going to be covered and I could just help him grow the business. So it's just a good fit.
I want to reference something, which is you have a business that is tied to your personality and skill set. So Modern Outbound is very much Joel's jive.
Mm.
Like you can go in and do intervention on every aspect of the business in some capacity because you know it backwards and forwards. What was the advantage or how did you think about a business that you're not going to step in and become a designer?
Yeah, it's pretty scary. Moments of paranoia. I had moments of buyer's remorse. Like once we got into diligence, I was like, what am I doing? I can barely put a one pager together like on Canva, let alone like I'm about to buy this business where I have no expertise at all. I think doing this long enough, I know what valuable services look like. And I know what like getting out of the day to day of Modern Outbound, I know how to like hire and assess talent, even if I can't do exactly what they do that well. So I know it doesn't really answer your question that well, but I was so fired up about the service that I didn't care that I had no expertise in it. I said, like, well, like I'll make it my mission to find the best designers on the planet. It helped that Thomas is an insane talent like that. If he wasn't, if his portfolio was, if like the feedback, client feedback, the testimonials, like were kind of, I don't know, I probably wouldn't have done it. But
Yeah.
he kind of bridged the gap for me.
I hear you saying you felt confident you could sell it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I knew I
Yeah.
had clients that wanted it. People
Yeah.
ask about it. Like it was a subscription design firm and they have such a good feel for what clients need. Even clients don't know what they don't know. They know what they don't know. Like they're able to build like design roadmaps and a wide range of marketing assets that like I was like kind of salivating at. We needed that for our clients.
How give us the numbers. How big was the company? What it looked like?
Yeah. So revenue was at about 531,000 at around at the time of close, 377,000 STE. So the margins were north of 70%, but heavy founder involvement. Thomas was communicating with all the clients. He's a very likable dude and he's very good at his craft. So clients like really trusted him. They still do. But I knew that coming in, like he had a stable of like 6, 7, 8 great creative designers that were going to be able to step in. So now we've made them lead designers on accounts with Thomas being QA, and that's been absolutely game changing. But yeah, 531,377 K STE, which was about what I was looking for. It's about half the size of Modern Outbound, which is also in target with my buy box.
Yeah.
But I was pretty open minded. Like I was looking at much bigger businesses. I didn't want to go much smaller than this, but I figured for my first deal, this would probably be a good fit, something I could like really bite down on.
Yeah, the general rule, Lang acquisition rule number one, which is acquire 30% your employee count. How many people did he have?
So there's now 7 designers, a couple apps. It's about 9 or 10. We're at about 10 on
That's
the
awesome.
GTM design side. Yeah. So it's a little
Yeah.
bit more labor intensive. There's automations, but you still need really
Yeah.
good designers. So yeah, we're at
So,
about 10 there.
so you looked at a company and the strategic value and the narrative you applied was, hey, I could sell this. They're great at what they do. And as long as I can trust Thomas and he's going to stick around, I'm confident in our ability to create value together in this
Mhm.
partnership.
Yeah.
Where was Thomas in this business for context for the
Yeah. So
listener?
yeah, Thomas is in Prague. He's actually moving to Portugal, but yeah, he's in Prague. Our client success leader, she's in Italy. Designers were primarily in Europe, 1 or 2 in the US, but yeah, like it's primarily a European operation, but they work with almost all the clients are US based.
Yeah. Joel in our agency M&A Slack community shared, hey, I'm looking at this international opportunity. Has anyone done it? And yes, there are folks in the group who have done international transactions and were giving him some confidence because when you're evaluating a deal overseas, what were some of the things that went through your mind?
I haven't met these people. I didn't meet him before I closed the deal, which I know people in your community maybe weren't so happy with, but things move so fast. But yeah, you know what? We have clients all over the world. We have clients in Europe, clients in Canada, and like a lot of them I haven't met in person. So it wasn't as scary for me. But yeah, it would have been nice for me to like get in my car and like drive to the seller and like
But
have
you
a
didn't
coffee
have
with
to.
him.
Yeah, but you double tap on a point, which was you have clients you've never met face to face. You have
Yeah.
team members all over the world. We live in a post-COVID world where globalization and Zoom and asynchronous communication is the standard.
Yeah.
It's not that hard for you to add a team in a different place.
Yeah, it's not. Have a good quality of earnings specialist, have a good lawyer, have a good acquisition team. Trust your gut when you talk to people. Do they seem trustworthy? Are they withholding anything? I met with him a bunch of times. I met with a couple people on his team, and I had a good feeling about it. And then the quality of earnings report came back that it was all aligned and kosher, so it felt good. It's harder for me to get away and go international with like everything going on at home with kids and whatever. So I didn't meet him, but I will soon.
I want to double tap on the home thing, Joel.
Yeah,
You have a home renovation. How many kids?
man. 2 kids, another one on the
Oh,
way in
another one
August.
on
So
the way in
we'll have
August.
3 in August. Yeah, thank
And you
God.
are the entrepreneur of your own business. You work with your wife.
Yeah.
You have all the things that would be rational personal excuses for not doing M&A.
Yeah. Yeah, or the main reason that I'm doing it in the first place is for them. Like they drive me. I mean, I don't know what I would be without them. But like a big part of my mission is to provide and to show my kids also and my wife what it's like to create and grow and build. It feels really good to play that role. And it's what gets me the most excited from a business standpoint. I'm focused on being a good dad and a good husband. But, from 9 to 6, 8 to 6, whatever, like, I'm here. Like, it's already so high stakes for me. Pre-acquisition, my life is high stakes, like, I'm providing. So why not play a bigger game?
Yeah, wonderfully said. The platform helps facilitate the deal. So you submit an LOI. How did you start thinking about doing this deal since you had never done one before?
You guys helped a lot. The M&A group, like, Peter's M&A group, like, even it's like there's the grand gestures with, like, amazing training, and Peter's training was awesome, and I went through the whole thing in a couple weeks, but just asking questions to people that have done deals in these niches, in the agency space was huge. It was like, I mean, we could talk about the deal structure if you like. I mean, I was able to, like, restructure some of that early on with the help of you and people in those threads, like, that was massive. It bridged the knowledge gap for me because I had no idea what the hell I was doing from day one. Had a good quality of earnings person. They were amazing. Attorney was
Let's
fine.
let's break it down. So
Yeah.
you're in the platform, you're making an offer, you posted it in the deals in progress,
Mhm.
and you had a bunch of people start giving you their take on the deal structure, ways to creatively modify it, and then you took that, presented it as an offer to the seller.
Mhm.
And was there initial rejection, acceptance? How'd that first offer presentation go?
Well, the seller presented what he would like to have is like, so he knew it was going to be heavy seller note. Because he wanted to be involved. So we were going to do some kind of like an earn out seller note, maybe like 35% cash up front, the rest seller note. And he had a certain number in his mind of like what he was looking to earn monthly from this. And of course, the down payment, he had a slightly higher down payment than what I was comfortable with, just given all the factors. Things were moving fast. I hadn't met him yet. It was a newer business, so it's only been around for a couple of years, so not a crazy long track record. So all these different factors that felt risky to me. So in talking to you guys in the thread, like what would a good structure be like that doesn't like that shows I'm serious and certainly doesn't insult the seller because he's done something amazing with this business. And all the ideas were flowing, and it helped me come back with something a little bit more palatable for me, and it worked out, and he accepted. So it was pretty quick. Like I think it really helps when the seller can see the partnership with you. Like they could see the clear synergy. So maybe if I were just some dude like who came from like banking, I was like, hey, I want to buy an agency and like here's what I want to do. He'd be like, probably not. He's like, I see the potential with you. Like you can plug in your outbound machine on day one, which to him was so exciting. It's like, let's just make it work. Like let's just connect the dots. Tell me what worked. And he's a reasonable guy too. So yeah, I came back with that counter, and then we moved into diligence.
Yeah, I think the seller wanted The asking price was what? Close to a little over 1 time's profit or something like that?
Yeah, it was a
And
little bit over one time, 1.2x profit.
and then something closer to, about more than 50%, or close to it, cash on close, was an expectation? Or
Yeah,
where did it land?
the initially expectation was about 55-60% cash on close. We ended up agreeing on something closer to 35% cash on close, and the rest was seller note. And he retained 10% equity in the business. And he's such a huge talent that I'm further incentivizing him post deal, like an APA addendum to like get him even more fired up about the future of this, because I think it's just crazy not to, where there's going to be like an equity ladder based on like MRR and profitability thresholds that we hit, because I want him to have like maybe even a little more equity. We can accelerate the seller note, like different ways to get him fired up, because I really want him
Yeah.
part of this.
Yeah, and highlighting what you emphasize, which is he sees the potential in his partnership with you.
Mhm.
I mean, when someone rolls over equity or defers consideration, a lot of that has to be tied to their believability,
Mhm.
their belief that you are coming in and going to help them do something they can't do right now.
Yep.
I mean, I remember the thread you said, firmly he wants this amount of cash on close, and we countered it, and there's all these comments from group members saying, here's how to structure the cash on close, the deferred consideration, and you're getting a lot of people's opinion. Joel, you had never done a deal before. How are
Yeah.
you receiving all this feedback and thinking about it?
I was grateful for it. Yeah, I mean, because sometimes you're like on an island. I've always felt at times, like especially growing Modern Outbound, I have not been good at reaching out for help. Like I try to do things on my own to a fault, and it ends up feeling kind of lonely when you're making these big decisions at a business level. So I was like, this is amazing. This is like I should have been doing this for years, like asking people what they really think and implementing it. So yeah, yeah, just amazingly grateful.
Yeah, but you had the confidence. I want to give you credit because we can say, hey, go cut the cash on close in half because of the risks
Yeah.
that are apparent in the business, and some people just get held back with some fear of
Mhm.
rejection. You went in and delivered a counter to someone who had a clear asking price.
Yeah. So that's an important point, because and for anyone listening that's looking to do their first deal or whatever, like there might come a point in the deal where you really have to be willing to walk away. Like when I came back with that counter, I was actually thinking he's not going to say yes to this. Like he was very firm initially. He's like he had gone through like there was a failed diligence before meeting me. He had gotten all his numbers together. He was ready to sell, and then the deal fell through. So he was a little bit burned by the experience. It had wasted a lot of his time. And like Thomas is a workhorse. Like he likes to be like building and creating. He does not want to be wasting time, like going through diligence only for it not to happen. So I kind of, he was firm, and I felt like, okay, like this might be it. And I told Jess, I was like, I'm going to make this counter. I don't know what's going to happen. I really hope he accepts, because I feel like we could like 10x this business together. But I was willing to walk away. Like that was my attitude. Like this is the best I can do. If it doesn't work out, I obviously wish you the best. And I always feel, not to get too like woo woo, but I always feel like when I remove that like intense desire and detach from the outcome, like that's when the good stuff flows. That's usually when the good stuff happens. So he came back within a few minutes, and he was like, okay, let's do this. I trust that we can make this happen.
Yeah, all sometimes too fast.
Yeah. 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 I was like, wait, that was too fast. Wait, shit. I should have
Yeah,
editing the Slack message. I should have. Yeah, no.
so that there's an important step. So you present the offer, he accepts the offer. You don't have M&A experience. This is your first offer.
First offer. Yeah. First
Put
LOI.
put the chips in the luck category, although you started leveraging the experience of the community, of course, to
That
help. But
helped.
at the
That
same
helped.
time, this is the first offer, Joel.
Yeah. Yeah. First LOI, first everything. I had
What did
truly,
Jess say when you got the LOI accepted?
she was pumped. She was like I could see the fear. She's like, okay, you executed on this. Good for you. Yeah. Good. Nice
Now
work.
what? Now
Yeah.
what?
Now what do we do? Okay. Like, how are we going to come up with the money? Like, what? Yeah. Yeah. So
Well, let's talk about that. So
yeah.
you sign on the deal. Do you want to walk through the deal structure, or did we cover it enough?
Yeah. I mean, we could walk through the deal structure, but it was about 35% cash on close, and I actually financed that through SBA. Like I have obviously, assets, capital locked up in Modern Outbound. Like and I'm sure people can relate to this, like money tied up in securities and investments and like real estate. And like, I have some liquidity, but I like having dry powder to invest in my business. So I didn't want to uproot anything there. And I knew so I ended up doing like a working capital loan through SBA for the down payment. And then the rest was seller note. So
So
yeah,
let's talk through. So the asking price ended. Did you negotiate asking price, or did you give him the asking price?
gave him the asking price.
So this is an important lesson. So if someone's saying, I want this price for the business, you say, okay, your price, my terms. Here's the
Absolutely.
terms I can work with as a ideal strategic buyer who you are doing reverse due diligence on this opportunity as much as I'm doing due diligence on what it is that you're telling me to be true. And if we both agree that the strategy of us coming together is going to be better together, here's how I can make this deal work. You structure the cash on close more favorably than his original asking. And then you say, okay, I'm not going to take 100,000+ of my cash and give this to this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go work with a lender
Mm-hmm.
and get this guy the money that he needs because I'm buying a cash flowing business and I'm confident I can grow. But you need to look into the business. So after signing LOI, who was the next phone call? Was it the Q of E, the lawyer, the lender? Well, walk
Yeah,
us through it.
it was all happening at the same time. So Q of E and lender were my first two calls because I wanted to make sure, okay, I haven't met this guy. I've never been went to Prague in high school once. Like, I don't know. Like, I think he exists. So Q of E, like, let's unleash that. Let's check those boxes. And then the lender, initially I went through a terrible lender. It was an awful experience. It was like being at the DMV, like where there were like 2,000 people in front of you. Like, they weren't getting back to me. They weren't responding to emails. And Thomas was looking to get the deal done, understandably. And they were like just taking their sweet time. So I ended up going with a different lender. I went with Live Oak. They're amazing, by the way. They have an awesome team. And they got,
Live Oak is the number one SBA lender in the country.
yeah, yeah.
They do this every day if you work with a good, source there.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a signed LOI. Who'd you work with for the Q of E?
We worked with Centurica, and they have I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. They have an awesome team. Also, that was a recommendation from the M&A Peter's M&A community.
Yep, Centurica does a great job.
Yeah, they
Yep.
do an awesome job. Super competent. They got it done. They got it done
Not
quickly.
super expensive.
No, not at
Their
all.
cost, yep, they're reasonable to the size and scale of the size of your purchase.
Yeah, very reasonable. Such a breath of fresh air working with them and Live Oak together. Like, that was great. We moved through those steps pretty quickly. And then I had a lawyer that I worked with Peter and the M&A community on the APA template. You guys have a great template that I shared with a lawyer, and they added a couple things. I gave them the terms that I was looking for, and that part was pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Yeah. So you don't have to know how to do a deal if you're surrounded and supported by people who have done it, and hire functional experts who do the work with you in real time.
Yeah.
Makes the whole process feel a little bit less uncertain.
Yeah.
Did it feel uncertain?
It felt, yeah, there were moments where it felt uncertain, but just having other sets of eyes that were experts, like between your community, Q of E, lawyer, lender, because lender is a very helpful resource. Like, they want to make sure they get paid back. So they're asking lots of good questions. Like, I felt pretty good. I felt like, okay, my team is like on point. I don't have to like uproot my financial life to make this deal happen. We also have a renovation going on. There's like a lot of things. Like, it was perfect to be able to bridge that capital for this first deal. And it diligence took, I don't remember how long it took, maybe a month.
Yeah.
Maybe a little less.
Yeah. And it's just a digestible deal. What was happening to the company, Modern Outbound, while you were doing this deal?
It was business as usual. My team knew about it. I have an amazing COO at Modern Outbound. I was keeping him apprised of everything that was going on. I was thinking initially he would have some involvement with the integration of GTM Design, so he knows what's going on. GTM Design right now, like, they have an amazing head of operations, so she's really running the day-to-day show there. But no, Modern Outbound was just trucking along. Like, we were growing. We were like, Modern Outbound was really hitting its stride too. We had rolled out a couple successful services, like, and I was starting to like reference GTM Design. It really felt like the pieces were coming together. Like, when you take like bold action, you take a bold step forward, like the pieces fall in line, and that's how it felt.
Yeah, did you become aware that you were leveling up the game you were playing?
Very much
Or
so.
that you felt it happening to you?
I did, yeah. I felt like I was being stretched. Like, I felt the fear, I felt the resistance. Like, oh, let's just, you have that like instinct to just go back to the way things were because that's comfortable. But I knew that if I'm feeling fear and a little bit of anxiety about this, it probably means it's a good move. And then over time, like you go through diligence and you're empowered. Like you learn so much. You learn what questions to ask. So before the deal even closed in March, like I felt like a pro. I'm not, but I felt that way. So I guess that's all that matters.
I mean, to be better than 99% of people, you have to do the thing that the 1% do, and that's the thing that the 99% don't. And you did it on your first try, Joel.
Mm,
But you did such a great job
yeah.
of stacking the chips between the two boxes. It's either luck or experience that creates success.
Yeah.
Early on, it's luck, but you did such a good job of stacking your chips on the experience side by bringing in other people to help kind of give you that confidence you need to say yes to a commitment, because you did have to say yes to a loan. You had to
Hmm.
say yes to a business that has people in another country,
Hmm.
and you are going to be selling and providing a service you've never done before.
Hmm. Yeah. A lot of scary things at once.
Yeah.
I was never a debt guy. Like it was always something I'd pay for things. Obviously we have a mortgage, but like beyond that, it was like so off my radar to go into more debt. I mean, it is debt, but when the cash flow, covers it, it doesn't really feel like debt. It feels like leverage.
Yeah. And that's what it is. That's why
Yeah,
we call it leverage.
it's leverage. Yeah.
It's a leverage buyout.
Hmm.
You're putting debt on a business, and if you can appropriately structure that relative to the risk of your future intervention on a business, and you structured this very well, you have now expanded your portfolio of businesses.
Hmm.
You went from a single operator, an entrepreneur, to now you have two companies
Hmm.
that complement each other, that create value.
Yeah.
What about the process? If we could go back in time and you could comment on your own post, would you give yourself some advice on, or some things to look at?
When I was going into this initial
Yeah,
deal.
imagine the Joel of today hops into Slack, goes back in time, and
Hmm.
is coaching Joel through this deal. What would be some things you flag?
Hmm. I'd probably be more involved in the community. Like I'd probably participate more, ask more questions. I'm a little bit of a people pleaser and like I don't want to disrupt people. Like I don't want to interrupt people. I don't want to be annoying, a nag. So I probably would have like more confidently asked more questions instead of just trying to clarify everything myself. Well, there were certain deals that I was looking at before I met GTM Design Club where I was like, should I should I ask the community about this? Like, here's a sim. Like, I don't want to waste their time. This deal is too small. Obviously, there are people in your community that are doing bigger deals. And I was like, I'm not going to waste their time with this, like, small business. And I probably should have because I think it's still fun for them and people enjoy serving and helping. So it's like that was just getting in my own head. Not to say that there were businesses I passed up on that I regret, but I think it just would have been good putting in reps, good practice.
Yeah. And then when it came to the due diligence, yes, a QOV is helpful, right? Third
Yeah.
party validation of the financials, they go through the business, but they still present to you the findings, and you have to evaluate that and still
Yeah.
decide to move forward. Let's get to the end of this deal that's in progress. What made you feel confident to move forward with the purchase agreement and the commitments?
I, he was who he said he was. Like the numbers he positioned and he had gone through due diligence right before he met me, like everything was totally aligned. QV gave me like two thumbs up. There was nothing that was really ambiguous, nothing shady happening. Like it was everything I had hoped for. My conversations with Thomas and my relationship with him was getting deeper, where we were getting into strategy and already like building a go-to-market engine, like before I even got started. So that was like a really good sign. There was like this like natural enthusiasm on his side beyond just getting paid. Obviously, he was motivated to get the deal done, but I think he was equally pumped up about what this business is capable of doing, which like reinforced like my fire and decision to keep pushing forward. So It was really like, I really didn't feel any hesitation. Like the deeper we went into diligence, the better I felt.
That's important.
Yeah. Yeah. If it starts to feel off for
If
people, if I was
that's
feeling like,
Yeah, it's not sunk cost fallacy where you're investing time and energy. You want to get the deal done, even though it feels a little off. It's compound enthusiasm.
yeah,
And
yeah,
due diligence is preliminary integration planning, which is you saying, what are
yeah,
we going to do after the deal's done to enjoy and create value together, and have an agreement on that before you sign a purchase agreement and wire money.
exactly. Yeah. If you're pulling teeth from the seller, trying to get them to disclose or offer ideas or what, especially if it's like a younger founder that's not looking to retire and they still got a lot of passion, like that's probably a red flag.
Well, let's emphasize that you're dealing with a seller who has never sold a business before.
He's actually had an exit in like not
Oh, so
not long ago. He had
do you
built and
think that was
scaled
helpful?
something.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
let's talk about that. What about his experience selling a business? Do you feel like helped move this along?
Uh, I think he knew what he wanted. He wasn't guessing. I think he knew his value. He knew his worth. He obviously knew how to scale GTM design to a certain level in a short period of time. So I trusted that a little bit more than just like a guy who got really lucky. Like he knows how to build and scale, and he is able to balance that with being like a real creative talent. So it wasn't anything like blatant that helped the decision or the diligence process, but he was able to just get his number straight. No bullshit. He told me exactly what needed to be said. Like I think that helps when you go through the process once or twice.
Yeah, a seller's job is to quantify the multiple return for their buyers.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to sell a business if you don't know how the buyer can pay you what you're asking. And in auction process or a go to market from a selling a business perspective that a broker will do, they'll say, let the market dictate the value. But there's only a small collection of types of buyers. Those buyers have certain levels of capital and ways that they can structure deals. You need to know, and it sounds like he did, if I'm selling this business at this size, this scale, this system, this is the types of buyers who would potentially be a right fit for this. And have that as realistic expectation to make the process with you really, it sounds like, really
Yeah.
efficient and streamlined.
Yeah. I think because he's done it and he's experienced, he didn't like go crazy on the multiple. I think he recognized this is a great business with really good talent, but like we haven't been around that long. So that was
Yeah.
priced in. And I think maybe someone who had less experience, who had never done a deal before, they might have gone like 3-4x profit, and they would have had pushback, obviously, given the, the just the youth of the business. But we
And
didn't waste
owner
time.
involvement. And
Hmm.
owner involvement, right? So he
And
gets
owner
hit by a
involvement.
bus and you
Yeah,
wire a significant amount of cash on close.
yeah,
You'd have to go find him in Prague. Like
exactly.
it's not that straightforward.
Yeah.
Now we've made this sound fairly easy, accessible, Joel. Are we being negligent here? Was it as
Hmm.
easy as it sounds?
No, of course not. I mean, every day was like there was like a new reason that, oh, maybe this isn't going to work. Maybe there was some self-doubt. Like, should I even be doing this right now? Should I wait? Like more of like a mental game. Like physically, it wasn't that hard. I already like put in the hours, and you know, like I put a lot of effort into everything I do. I didn't really feel that, but it was a mental game. This is like a whole new way of thinking about growth that it took me a while to like really wrap my head around it. That's the one caveat, I would say.
What's the difference between doing a deal and reading about other people doing deals?
Yeah, you got skin in the game, and it's maybe like it when something becomes real. There's a what's the best way to say it? Like there's more pain in that process. There's just more suffer. There's more
Stress.
uncertainty, stress, uncertainty. It's not, sometimes there are moments that aren't as fun. Like when you're reading about it and it's almost like, wow, this is like some cool thing that other people are doing. And like you're getting this crazy dopamine hit of like what's possible. But the moment, you actually get in the trenches, there's some days where you're just not going to feel as good about it. And you got to push forward anyway. That's the same with growing Modern Outbound. Like there's that initial excitement for the idea, you start telling people about it, it feels good, there's no downside, and then you start getting inside of it and you're like, okay, like this is hard. So yeah, once it became real, I actually stopped listening to as many podcasts and books. Like that phase sort of went away because I was like really inside of a deal, and was like, okay, this is where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah, this is where you learn the new skill.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
and a very new skill. I'm not old, but, like, I guess there's a certain age you hit where you're not really, like, in the market for learning new skills. I try to play guitar, I suck at it. Sometimes I come back to it after a few weeks. So, you don't wanna, like, try something that you're gonna eventually fail at or give up on. So, there's resistance there.
yeah, the highest ascension of an entrepreneur is private equity, which is you are a capital allocator of your personal income, and now you're going to allocate that capital into things that generate a multiple return,
Mhm,
and that's buying other companies.
mhm,
And the fastest way to become better at buying companies is to buy ones that look like you or one that you can have direct intervention on from yours as an outbound perspective, generating sales,
mhm,
pipeline, or it could be a direct competitor who you can assimilate. It increases your probability of the first deal closing. It also lowers the risk profile required to enter the deal, and then increase the probability you'll do future deals.
mhm,
So let's talk about signing a purchase agreement. Joel, this is your first acquisition, man.
first.
Just you told her you want to go do this. Now you're doing it. You got the purchase agreement back and forth. Anything in the purchase agreement negotiation, getting to close, that you want to share with the audience?
I'm, like, not I mean, I suppose I'm analytical enough, but I did not enjoy reading that purchase agreement. I poured through like, it's not my skill set to sit there and, like, pour over a document. I'm the opposite of, like, a lawyer. I don't have that skill set, but, more resistance, which is a good thing. So I poured through it. We got it done. I think no, that was pretty straightforward, and I had a good attorney that I trusted. I didn't pass the APA around to too many people. Yeah, I gave them my terms. So I think it's helpful to come into the deal knowing exactly what you want. Obviously, the lawyer's there to make sure that you're secure and there's no like blockers or like no downside that you're not thinking about. But it mirrored exactly what I wanted. Even though I'm
Yeah,
not an expert, it has to make sense to me. And it did.
yeah.
So the purchase agreement part was fairly straightforward. I imagine it's way more complex if you're doing like a multi-million-dollar deal.
Not dramatically. Just like servicing clients. The size of a client takes a lot of the same amount of work, and you can charge
Mm,
more for it.
mm.
So you circulate the purchase agreement,
Yeah,
you get it
circulate it.
signed. How did that feel? How did you feel when you closed your first
Yeah,
acquisition? You're a guy who closes deals for a living,
yeah,
man.
yeah. By that point, I always like act and then I'll like feel it later. Like I signed it and was like, okay, this is just like another signature that I have to do. But like maybe a day or two later, I was like, holy shit, like this is like having another kid, like this is like a new baby that I have to take care of. So it hit me in drips and drabs. There were definitely moments of like fear and anxiety in those days post close, but we got to work right away, like, which helps. It is all about, like you were saying before, like you want to buy a business where you could really complement, you could like add a skill set that it needs. So it feels good to act. Like Jeff Bezos always says, like, anxiety and stress comes from inaction. Like I knew that like day one, I have to take action. We put in the outbound engine. We started generating leads, within like 2 or 3 days, we were getting replies from our ICP, our target market. So that felt good. That eased the pain. That eased not the pain, but that eased the stress a little bit.
Okay, let's not let you get away without describing the first 30 days stress.
Oh my
So
God.
what
Yeah.
about the first 30 days was stressful, different from the expectations we had set in the education program you went through, but also
Yeah.
the community? Like what did the first 30 days feel like?
Yeah. Chaos. Absolute chaos. It was a good chaos, but it's like when you start your own agency, right? With Modern Outbound, you implement a change and it gets implemented basically right away. Because either you're the one doing it or, you've got somebody that you hired that you're having them execute on. With this, there were so many initiatives that I wanted to put in place like right away. And I know you've said this in different versions that like just sit and observe the first 30 days, document the process, look at everything from a higher level and don't make any crazy moves until you're into that second month. And that was very difficult for me because I wanted to utilize the designers more. I wanted them to be inside the Slack channels, communicating with the clients. I wanted better operations on the back end. I wanted the customer success leader. She was a huge talent. I wanted her to be way more involved. So I added, like, gave her a raise. Like, I wanted to do all of these things to motivate and make changes. And I kind of had to like sit on my hands for like a few weeks and just observe. And that was tough.
Yeah. What happened after those few weeks?
And then finally it like naturally, yeah, like then you just, I don't know, like they trust you, your team, the team needs to trust you. Like you're coming into this new situation, like, hi, I'm Joel. I just bought your business. They're like, who the hell are you? Like some Americans coming into this operation. I don't know who they are. What are they going to do? Is my job safe? Like all the things we talk about. So building trust, meeting, like setting up like regular meetings, praising, like looking at the work and making sure they knew that like I'm not here to like shake things up for the sake of shaking things up, but it's to actually make their job easier, to have them focus on what they do best. So for the designers, like I want you guys creating. I did have to stretch them a little bit to get them to communicate more with clients, which they're doing really well now. So different roles changed a little bit, but it was like a natural progression. If you're like really invested in the business, like, I mean, you're literally invested, but if you're emotionally invested and they see that, by the time you hit like 4, 5, 6 weeks, like they kind of trust you and they've seen you enough to know that when you make a decision, it's in everyone's best interest, and the change happens fast. So we've made so many improvements in the last like 6 weeks even. There's still a ways to go, but I feel like it's calming down a little bit. Like we're getting into like more of like a well-oiled car wash. Whereas before it was just like there was like 100 moving parts that I knew all needed to change.
Yeah, M&A is messy.
Yeah, it is. Even at a smaller level, like
Yeah.
it's very messy, maybe even messier.
When you started making these change, you highlighted trust. Talk about trust. How important was that for the deal, the post close, the team with under your management, like an ownership?
Yeah.
Talk about trust.
I mean, I didn't know these people. I'm generally trusting until proven otherwise, and then it's hard to get my trust back if I feel like it's been breached or if I feel like someone's withholding something. So, I tried to ask as many thoughtful, good questions as I could to make sure that there was no misunderstanding. Communication styles sometimes are a little different. Like I'm very, I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm like extroverted, but like I'm very like high communication. I say everything that's on my mind. I don't really leave anything that's ambiguous. Whereas sometimes people, I don't know, Europeans, I don't want to say like a broad generalization.
Well, we could generalize you. You're American.
I'm American, so I guess if I can
Yeah.
generalize me, I'll generalize. No, they're all different, but I mean, the ones that I worked with were maybe a little more cerebral than me, and like I don't necessarily think that things were being withheld, but like it was just a different communication style early on. So I had to be very clear about what I wanted. It's just important, like in any relationship. Like here's how I think we should communicate. I recognize like we're not the same person, but you know, like I'd love for you to respond to Slack messages quickly. If I ask 4 or 5 questions in a Slack message, I want all 4 or 5 of those answered, not just like 2 or 3 of them. And then the fourth one I have to follow up on. Just like little things like that. I don't necessarily think that's like a European thing. I don't want that going out there, but it's more like, when people are really busy and they're in the work and they're creating,
Yeah.
they're not
Creatives too.
like, they're creatives. They don't
Yeah.
communicate the same way. They
Yeah.
build tangible. Yeah.
You come from a systems company. Modern Outbound is systems,
Yeah.
and they come from a creative. And it's
Exactly.
actually two different cultures necessary for those businesses and those styles to thrive.
Yeah.
And it helps that you're kind of integrating some aspects, but you are keeping them a little separate.
Yeah, they're separate right now. Maybe one day we merge, we figure out a way to do that. I'd like to do another acquisition that aligns with these two brands, but right now they're operating separately. But we have clients at Modern Outbound that use GTM Design. We have GTM Design clients that are interested in using Modern Outbound. So there's really no issue with having a client use both services. I don't
Yep.
need them to be one thing right now. I actually feel like it works better this way.
Has completing one acquisition made you more likely or less likely to do another?
More likely, but I will say it's definitely not easy to do your first deal. I don't want to say that, but doing your second deal might be as hard as doing your first deal.
Yeah. It
I don't know
takes
if anyone's ever said that before, but yeah,
every deal's different,
yeah,
and it takes 5 not to suck.
yeah.
So, you got a ways. What's the biggest lesson you'll carry into that next deal?
Uh, I I don't know yet, honestly. It's like I still feel like I'm in the trenches right now and I'm integrating. I don't have like a hard and fast mistake or lesson that I feel like I need to. I think I know what I want more now than I did when I was looking for that first deal, so I can narrow my search much better for the next deal. I would do more off market for the next deal. Like this was technically on market and acquired, but it kind of had an off market feel. So the lesson might be build a really good off market pipeline and know exactly what I want because I was kind of all over the place. Like, do I want design? Do I want paid media? Do I want like SEO? I was talking to all these different agencies. So it was more like, okay, know exactly what you want and find it off market.
Yeah, and you've been able to crystallize a thesis which takes advantage of Modern Outbound's capabilities.
Hmm.
Like, I need more things to sell. I need companies that are really good at what they do and provide value to their clients, but it just have limitations in regards to their ability to scale sales.
Hmm.
And I can unlock that day one and create tremendous opportunity for companies that are subscale and not pro sales.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful position because you're good at it.
Mhm. Yeah, I've always loved being a specialist, like, with Outbound, we love just saying to a client, "Hey, like, we are just good at this." And that's like a it's an easier sell, it gets the deal done faster, but you don't have as many hooks into the relationship, and I like touching multiple parts of the client's ecosystem. So the GTM design deal helped me do that. Another deal is going to help me do that. Rolling out additional services. We don't want to be a do it all marketing agency. I've always been very opposed to that. Like you have those agencies, I'm not knocking them, but they offer everything under the sun and it kind of diminishes the value of each service. I don't want that. I want a portfolio of specialist agencies that talk to each other, that work well together.
If someone is listening to this and they were where you were 8 months ago, like curious about acquisitions but unsure where to start, where do you tell them to go?
I really believe the first few weeks of this, so, okay, you have to assess your inner state. Are you excited about this? Are you fearful about it? Do you feel like alive, like when the idea of M&A enters your mind? If the answer is yes, start devouring content. Like just that should be maybe the first 3, 4 weeks. Like listen to Peter's podcast, listen, read books, like because it is a brand new skill set and you want to be able to like talk the talk a little bit. You want to understand the lingo. What kind of question should I ask? Like, what does that mean? Like, so if you're excitedly poring over the content, that's a good sign. That's a good sign. And then the next phase and make it tight, make that first phase a few weeks, then move in to like, all right, I'm going to start talking to some sellers, but do it. Like, don't sit on the decision for too long. If you're sitting on the decision for too long, it might not be a good sign. Maybe it means you shouldn't do it at all or right now. But if you're feeling fired up about it, like make moves. Life is short.
Great. What's one thing you're most proud of from this entire experience of buying the first company?
I think just getting over inertia, like getting over like the fear of doing something new. I think people I've always heard like people on their deathbed, like they don't regret the failures, they regret not acting. So I knew that this was something I needed to act on. Whether the deal went south, whether it was great, I think it always would have felt good to know that I did it. So
Joel,
thankfully, it's a good deal.
if someone wants to follow along on your journey and is in the same place or going through it just like you were, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Yeah. So my email, joel@modernoutbound.com or joel@gtmdesign.club. You can find me on LinkedIn. I share stuff on design, distribution. Follow me on LinkedIn, connect with me, shoot me a DM. Always happy to chat with any of your listeners.
Appreciate you, Joel. Joel, like I said in the first message I think I sent you, you take action and do what you say.
Try
So
to.
it's a pleasure to watch you get your
Thank you.
first of many deals done.
Amen. I appreciate that, Peter. You guys are awesome. Your team is awesome. I've learned an insane amount from you in a very short period of time. So people should definitely be following you as well.
Appreciate you, Joel.
Yeah,
Thank you.
of course.
If you like this episode, probably like one of our other episodes. Click here.